If you are somebody who makes video content with your phone, this is something you really want to look at. This is the Sandmarc Slider from Sandmarc. Use your phone, comes with a phone holder, nice slider, incredibly well built. In this video I'm going to show you 4 ways that you can use this bad boy, as well as some really cool tips to get the best sort of cinematic footage you can out of a slider. Let's get into it. The slider itself is really well built. It's carbon fiber rails as well as machined aluminium for all the metal mechanical parts that are on here. There's 4 legs that are adjustable, left and right, up and down, and it's used generally to put on a tabletop to do things like B-roll for product photography, which is not what we're going to do here. We're going to do something a little bit different. The slider itself, again, is made from aluminium. It's got a threaded hole there to take the phone holder that you've got there from Sandmarc. On the front here, the silver dial here is the tension adjustment. So I can tighten that right up and that thing's not going to move at all. If I let it off a little bit, it's going to give me a little bit of tension. As I move less and less and less, I'd take it all the way out and it's just going to move under its own free weight. This is built really well. It's on carbon fiber rails. All the rest of it is machined aircraft aluminium, and it's built tonka tough. I'd have no problem dropping this thing on the ground, and I think it'll survive pretty well. It's got 4 legs on each, or 2 legs on each end, 4 in total. You don't have to use it this way. It's designed to go onto a tabletop to do like product videography, like B-roll for when you're reviewing products and things like that. That's what I think it's designed for, but it's not what I'm using it for. What you get when you buy this is the slider itself. It comes in a really good carry bag as well as a phone holder. I've got 13 Pro Max in here with the anamorphic lens from Sandmarc as well as a ND filter. They don't come with it. They're sold separately, but this phone holder does come with it. It's a fairly good phone holder. It works, well, as exactly as it's meant to be working. So for me, that's a bit of a thumbs up. The other thing you may notice is it's sitting on top of a tripod right now. If I unscrew this from the tripod, take it out, you can see here it's got an Arca Swiss mount screwed into the sliders on the actual slider. And that is very bloody good idea, because most of the time you're going to use this, in my opinion, is on a tripod, and we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about these 4 methods that I would use this tripod. The first one is the slide. Well, it's for a slider. Slide. And I'm not meaning to sound like an idiot there. That is the first and foremost method you will use this thing for, is sliding left to right. And it's not a case of just pushing and letting it go, but that is the movement, the left to the right or the right to the left. And that will depend on what you've got going on in the footage that you're trying to shoot. We'll talk about how we will do that slide in just a minute. Number 2 is the push. So all you need to do here is turn this phone mount 90 degrees, and now all of a sudden we're not going left to right, we're going front or back to front. Number 3 is the pull, and that's pulling it back from the subject that you've got it going on. Number 4 is the drop, and I'm talking about getting footage from up here and bringing it down, or raising it up from the ground. And the way you would do it generally with a slider is turn your tripod 90 degrees like this. Unfortunately, the phone holder that we have, it's only going to work for things like reels. So it's going to be a vertical format because that phone holder that's on there doesn't turn 90 degrees. A bonus one here would be number 5, and that's putting it on an angle like this. You can bring it to like say a 45 degree angle and you get something creative out of this. Personally, I don't like that. I think it kind of looks a little bit stupid. But anyway, let's talk about some tips here for using sliders in your video. Number 1 is using a tripod. Use a tripod so you can get this slider to whatever height you want it to be. At the moment, right out of the box, you've got a height of about 2 inches, and that's as high as you can take this thing, which is okay if you're doing stuff on the tabletop, but not okay if you're out in the field wanting to get some cinematic footage of trees and things like that. Use a tripod, use that Arca Swiss mount, and you'll be set up to get whatever height you want. Sandmarc actually make a tripod. It's a nice little travel tripod, but it goes about 2 foot high. That's going to be so much more than what these little bad boys give you. Number 1, use a tripod. Number 2 is add some foreground elements to your shot. It's all great that this thing can move, and it's going to add that little bit of a higher production level to the video that you're putting out. But if you have something in front of it here that's going to move across the bottom of the frame, that much better. If I grab just even a couple of leaves here and put in front of it just like this and move this across in front of it, that's going to give a pretty bloody good amount of detail and depth to that shot. So number 2 is add some foreground elements. Number 3, I would say, is maintain 2 hands on the slider and move your body with the slider. It's easy enough, even though you've got a slider here, to make exaggerated, jagged movements, but with using 2 hands on the slider, moving your body, it's going to be smoother taking that sort of shot. Much easier. The next one is to practice the shot. Take it over and over and over again, like 3 or 4 times. And what I mean by that is, like, hit record, make the movement and do it a few times. That way, there's a fairly good chance that one of those movements hasn't had the tripod move, hasn't had something move in the shot, and you're going to get the one that you want. So even though I might have moved it 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4 times, 2 or 3 times, I'm only going to use one of those actions in the final shot. Where I am here today is in the garden next to my house. We do a lot of filming here for our second channel, Windella Farm. That's all about our farm, our lives, behind the scenes sort of content. So if you like that sort of stuff about Aussie sort of content, farming content, and well, a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I do here on this channel here, I'll link it down the bottom there. Head over, subscribe, and you'll see a video each and every week. The last thing about this slider that I would say is really important, this is but a tool in your armory for videography. It's not the whole tool. It's only one. You make a video that's all about just this, and it's going to look pretty crap. You're going to want to put slider footage in amongst gimbal footage, in amongst other handheld footage to make the shots that you really want to make. What I've done here is put together a heap of stuff. I'll color grade it, put a little bit of music to it, and this is what you can do. Cheers guys, catch you later.